You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. Now for a look at the news making international headlines this Thursday, the 28th of April.
Peruvian police have entered a huge Chinese-owned Las Bambas copper mine in an attempt to evict an indigenous community that has established a camp near the open pit, forcing it to halt operations, a community leader and a government official said on Wednesday, April 27th. Las Bambas is owned by China MMG Ltd 1208.HK, supplies 2% of global copper. Residents of the indigenous Bamba community entered the mine on April 14th, demanding what they say is their ancestral lands. The mine halted production a week later. After being asked by a Reuters report on how long they stay in the camp, an identified indigenous farmer said, "Until they comply with the commitments they have made to us, we are going to stay until they comply, until they give us work." Reuters reported on Tuesday, April 26 that Las Bambas was planning to forcefully evict the community on Wednesday. A government source with direct knowledge of the matter, who asked not to be named, told Reuters police had begun entering the mine. Peru's government declared a state of emergency in the area early on Wednesday, a move that suspends civil liberties such as the right to assembly and protest. The Bamba community was resettled around a decade ago to make way for Las Bambas, one of the world's largest copper mines. The mine has battled against repeated protests and road blockades that have at times forced it to halt production. Getting production started again at Las Bambas would add to global supply, potentially dampening prices, though the mine has faced recurring disruption from impoverished local communities demanding higher financial contributions from the mine.
From the Galapagos tortoise and the Komodo dragon of the Indonesian islands, from the West African's rhinoceros viper and to India's gaharel, are threatened with extinction. Research said on Wednesday, the 27th of April, in the first comprehensive global status assessment for reptiles. The study examined 10,196 reptile species, including turtles, crocodiles, lizards, snakes, and tarantula, the only surviving member of the linga dated back for more than 2 million years. They found that 21% of species are critical endangered or vulnerable to extinct as defined by the International Union of Conservation of Nature, the global authority of the status of species. They also identified 31 species that have already gone extinct. Many reptiles are being pushed to brink, the researchers said, by factors simulating imperiling of the world of the other land vegetables. Many reptiles are being pushed to the brink, the researchers said, by factors similarly imperiling the world other land vertebrates, amphibians, birds, mammals, namely desertification of agriculture, logging and development, urban encroachment, and hunting by people, climate change, and invisible species.
All of those 20% of reptiles that are threatened today go extinct. We will lose accumulation of 15 billion years of evolution that's led to these fascinating creatures that we see around us today.
Previous status reports that 41% of amphibian species, 25% of mammal species, and 14% of bird species were threatened with extinction. Species status assessments consider distribution, ambience threats, and population threats. About 27% of reptile species restricted to forested habitats were found to be threatened with extinction compared to 14% of species inhabiting arid habitats. Some reptiles were found to be doing just fine. Australia's saltwater crocodile, the world's largest reptile, is listed in the category for least concern about extinction. Its croc cousin, the gaharel, on the other hand, is critically endangered. Among some other well-known reptiles, the Komodo dragon, the world's largest lizard, is endangered. The king cobra, the world's longest venomous snake, is vulnerable. The leatherback and the largest sea turtle is vulnerable. The Galapagos marine iguana is vulnerable, and various Galapagos turtle species range from vulnerable to extinct. Several hotspots for reptile risk were documented. In the Caribbean, for example, the Jamaican rock iguana and the lizard called the blue-tongued gullywasp are critical endangered. In West Africa, Peret's mountain chameleon is endangered, and the rhinoceros viper is vulnerable. In Madagascar, the Namaraka leaf chameleon is critical endangered. In Southeast Asia, the big-hearted turtle is critical endangered.
Species are declining at a rapid rate. Some estimates 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times more than the background rate of extinction that normally happens on the planet. So we're at a really critical time in Earth's history.
Among the most seriously threatened reptiles is the Chapman's pygmy chameleon, a small lizard inhabiting low-elevation rainforests in Malawi that has been considered possibly extinct, but now has been found in a few forest fragments.
A near 3-century-old instrument loaned as a Leonardo da Vinci of violin could fetch as much as 10 million euros when it is auctioned next month. The French house overseeing the sale said, crafted in 1736 by revered Italian luthier Giuseppe Guarneri, it is owned by virtuoso Regis Pasquia, and its sound has graced concert halls around the world. There are many violins, but this one is like selling a Rembrandt, a Goya, or even a Leonardo da Vinci painting, said Sophie Perrin of the Agate auction house near Paris. There are many violins, but this one is like selling a Rembrandt, a Goya, or even a Leonardo da Vinci painting, said Sophie Perrin of the Agate auction house near Paris. The maple-back instrument is one of about 150 made by Guarneri, the quality and longevity of whose output rival that of Antonio Stradivari, but who was far less prolific than his compatriot and contemporary. Met at the peak of Guarneri's career, it was bought more than 20 years ago by Pasqua, who gave a concert with it the following day without even practicing on it. Perrin said for him, this instrumental was perfect. He has since played it at prestigious venues including Carnegie Hall in New York and the Opera Garnier in Paris. The violin will go up for auction on June 3rd following a 3-day viewing. Its base price estimate is 4 to 4.5 million euro, but Perrin said it could sell for up to 10 million.